Hi, welcome to our Dog Here on Air presentation. I'm Tavor White, CEO and founder of Choose Happiness, a Boulder, Colorado-based company dedicated to bringing all-natural, safe creations to America's dogs. I've been working on developing a safe chew for over 5 years. Today I will share with you what I've learned and show you how to safely choose chews. We all know dogs love to chew. I mean, they really love to chew. And chewing is good for them. Dogs have been chewing since the beginning of time. Dogs have such a need to chew that sometimes they chew in things you don't really want them to. We all know dogs love to chew on bones. Here's one expert's perspective about why they love to chew on bones from an article in Psychology Today. He says, the last reservoir of fat in an animal undergoing hard times is in the bones. Bone marrow is particularly rich, with more than half of its composition being fat. That ability of carnivores to reach the bone marrow of their prey and their desire to work at grinding down and consuming the bulk of a bone to access the bone grease could mean the difference between life and death. So it's very natural to throw your dog a bone. They've been chewing on bones since the beginning of time, but it's not the best choice. And in this video, we are going to show you why and how to safely choose chews. What are the options in the market for your beloved dog? There are many chew products out there, but they more or less fall into 10 categories. The first one are bones. They come in big and small, obviously for different sized dogs. The second category is rawhide. They come in big rolls. These are small rolls. They come in braids. The third category are antlers. Here's a nice big one here. The fourth category is pig's ears. I couldn't find any pig's ears for this video because they've all been recalled. We'll talk about the major recall later in this presentation. This is a cow's ear, which is similar. This particular one was the first one I took out of the package. It's from a major brand. You could see the ear piercing here, but more important than the ear piercing is the tattoo that you could see, the animal's number, which means the ink is still in here. I wouldn't give this to my dog. The fifth category is bully sticks. They come in big and small and braided, not braided. They're quite potent. The ninth category is other animal-derived chews, which includes trachea, hooves, any parts of the animals. Here are some examples. This one is an esophagus, which has been braided, nicely braided, I might add. Here's some trachea, which is quite potent. And here is tripe, which is also potent, a little less so, but still up there. The final category is milk-based chews, often called cheese chews. These are quite controversial, and we're going to cover these in detail later in this presentation. We might think that all chews are the same, or that if it grabs our pup's attention, that it's good enough. Well, this might not be the case, and we are going to show you just how to tell if throwing your dog a bone, or any other chew for that matter, is safe for them. The standards we are using to assess dog chews include how digestible they are, how safe they are to chew on, pathogen risk, ingredients safety, durability, dog and human desirability, which includes tastiness, and price. For each product on the market, we will show you what works about it and what doesn't work. And afterwards, we will show you how each chew type stacks up in terms of safety and attractiveness. An important point to note is that anything reasonably abrasive that your dog chews on will have some dental benefits to him or her. So we will assume that all the chew types we discuss have some dental benefit. Let me introduce you to Dog Chew's failure modes. Let's start by talking about bones. What works for bones? Well, we know dogs love them. They last a long time, and it feels all natural to throw a dog a bone. What doesn't work? Well, here's an article from the FDA where they list reasons not to give your dog a bone, and they include blocked intestines, choking, oral cuts and wounds, vomiting, diarrhea, rectal bleeding, and even death. Veterinarians also report dogs eating bones run the risk of needing surgery to remove obstructions in the intestines. Now let's talk about rawhide. What works? Well, rawhides are cheap. They can be bought in bulk, and dogs generally accept them. What doesn't work? They could have contamination of toxic chemicals and pathogens, digestive irritation, and choking or blockages. The rawhide can get stuck in the esophagus or other parts of the digestive tract. Sometimes abdominal surgery is needed to remove them from the stomach or the intestines. If it isn't resolved, a blockage could lead to death. Let's look at what Dr. Karen Becker, a renowned veterinarian, has to say about it. After the dog has chewed the rawhide, at this point there's no longer any dental benefit to the chew because it has turned soft and gooey, and in fact it has become a choking and intestinal obstruction hazard. Now let's talk about antlers. What works? Well, they're very durable and they typically last longer than bones. What doesn't work about antlers is that they are too hard and can often break a dog's teeth. The AKC has this to say about antlers. Broken teeth are extremely painful and can lead to abscesses and infections. While your dog's suffering is usually enough of a deterrent, a broken tooth typically costs hundreds of dollars. The most serious issue, however, is internal. Antlers that break or splinter can get lodged in your dog's mouth, throat, or intestines, causing dangerous blockages that require emergency surgery. In addition, they lack flavor, and on top of that, they are super expensive. Now let's talk about pig's ears. Now remember, this is a cow's ear because I couldn't find pig's ears on the market due to the massive recall that has just been enacted. What works? Generally, dogs accept them, they are cheap, and before this recall, they could have been purchased in bulk. But let's look at what just happened with this recall. There's a recent FDA investigation into contaminated pig ears causing human salmonella infections. As of August 27, 2019, the CDC reports that there are 143 cases of human infection tied to exposure to pig ears with salmonella in 35 states. CDC reports that many of these cases are multi-drug resistant. 33 people have been hospitalized. The FDA and CDC continue to recommend that people avoid purchasing or feeding any pig ear treats at this time. If you have pig ear treats, safely discard them and thoroughly clean the areas where the treats have been. People can get sick after handling the treats or caring for dogs who ate the treats. Dogs might get sick after eating them. And, similar to rawhide, as your doggy chews on it, the pig ear will get soft and turn it into a potential choking hazard. Now let's talk about bully sticks. Well, bully sticks are cheap, you could buy them in bulk, and dogs generally accept them, strangely enough. What doesn't work? Similar to rawhides and pig ears, they can become a choking hazard. And most smell really bad. Even the low odor ones, the quote-unquote low odor ones, smell pretty bad after your dog gets them sopping wet. Let's face it, a bull's penis does not smell like roses. Now let's talk about rawhide substitutes. Rawhide substitutes could work, except when they are fakes. Watch out for imposters, as some companies use actual rawhide in their substitutes. The real ones are affordable and they are flavored for enjoyment. Here is an article from thetruthaboutpetfood.com, an amazing organization whose service to the pet parent community is to keep regulatory authorities and companies honest. In this report, they cite a Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture investigation into a company selling products advertised as rawhide substitutes. Here's what they say. From the beginning, we've treated this investigation as a misbranding investigation. So our purpose was to determine if the no-hide chews were being misbranded, and instead the company was substituting all of these rawhides and just calling them no-hide chews. They go on to cite a report by Dr. Adam Stern of Illinois Veterinary Diagnostics Laboratory that stated, based on my evaluation of both products, I suspect that the product No-Hide Salmon Chews is composed of similar materials to that of Dentley's rawhide rolls. Basically what he's saying is he highly suspects that this product on the market that is sold as a rawhide substitute actually is rawhide. So if they are indeed rawhide substitutes, what doesn't work so well about them can be that they often have questionable ingredients and they are not all natural and they don't typically last all that long. Now let's talk about dental chews. Dental chews, like any of these products with reasonable density and abrasiveness, have been shown to support dental hygiene. They're flavored as well, and they're relatively cheap. What doesn't work is their ingredients, they have short duration, and some are not all that digestible. As was highlighted in a study reported in the American Journal of Animal and Veterinary Sciences, where they evaluated the digestibility of various chews and dental chews. You can see that major brands in the market, including dental chews, are not that digestible. Just because something is soft doesn't mean it's digestible. It could turn into globs of indigestible goop moving through your dog's digestive tract. Dental chews also almost always have glycerin in them. While glycerin may be attractive to dogs because it's sweet, it could give them diarrhea. Why do companies use glycerin? It helps keep things soft, it makes them sweet, and it binds ingredients together. Glycerin is a byproduct of making soap. As a matter of fact, here's some glycerin soap here. I think we're all familiar with that. It is commonly used to treat constipation in humans and in dogs. Here's a glycerin suppository right here. No wonder it could cause diarrhea. And though it is not found to be toxic, it is a nutritionally void ingredient. Wait a minute. So it seems that when we are giving our dogs products with high glycerin content, we are giving them something intended for pleasure that has a high probability of giving them discomfort. Let's talk now about plastic chews. What works about plastic chews is they are super long lasting and they're flavored for desirability. What doesn't work well is, well, chicken or pork injected plastic. Brilliant, but really? And if a piece of rawhide or an ear, pig's ear, could get stuck in your doggy's digestive tract, imagine what a piece of plastic could do. Surely it's as risky. Now let's talk about other animal-derived chews. Well, what works? What works is that other animal-derived chews, including trachea and esophagi and hooves, are generally accepted by dogs and they are cheap and can be bought in bulk. What doesn't work is that similar to bones, they could break into shards. They could get caught in the dog's mouths and can lacerate and get caught in the digestive tract. Here's what a dog parent who submitted a warning about dried beef trachea chews to Dog Food Advisor said. Lodged in the bottom of her esophagus was a piece of dried beef trachea. It was removed by an endoscope, but since it was hollow and stuck to her esophagus, which was badly damaged, she is in the hospital being fed through her nose and will have a tough time recovering. She goes on to say, the dried trachea normally dissolves but didn't. In addition to being a potential obstruction, the thyroid gland is often present in the trachea chews. Now I don't see one here, but often they are apparently. And so you may be giving your dog thyroid hormone without even realizing it. As is indicated in this article from the Science Dog, thyroid tissue contains the hormone thyroxine, which will not be destroyed by the dog's gastric or digestive enzymes. An elevation in circulated thyroid hormone occurs and the dog develops hyperthyroidism. Some dogs develop elevated serum thyroxine but do not show clinical signs. Others develop signs that include weight loss, hyperactivity, excessive panting, and increased drinking and urinating. In addition to all that, if that weren't enough, these are pretty nasty smelling as far as I'm concerned. Now let's talk about milk-based chews. Milk-based chews are often called cheese chews. They can be affordable and are widely available. They are moderately long-lasting and many dogs accept them. What doesn't work is they are actually milkstone. Before the advent of plastic, milkstone was used to make buttons in the early 20th century. Now it is used as dog chews. First, let me show you the ingredient statement of a leading brand of milk-based chew. As you can see, it includes cheese, defined as pasteurized processed skim milk, salt, and lime juice. I don't get it. Is it cheese or is it milk? Either way, it doesn't matter. Lime juice is basically citric acid, which could be used to make a variety of cheese types, including mozzarella, ricotta, and paneer. Adding citric acid to milk reduces its pH, causing it to curdle. This curd is cheese. Immediately after it curdles, it is a soft, digestible, safe delicacy. However, let it completely dry and you get a block of nearly indestructible stone-like material. Take a look at how much force it takes to break this material and how sharp the pieces are as it breaks. These chews are not digestible. And the chomp safety, which is how safe a chew is for a dog to chew on, is quite low, as they often break into sharp shards. They also typically lack flavor. Let me show you a test we had run by the Department of Animal Sciences and the University of Illinois. They looked at cheese chews that are on the market today. You could see here that the before and after shape of the piece of cheese chew tested are almost exactly the same. That means they weren't affected by the digestive system of a dog. This is a simulated study where the dog's digestive tract was simulated in a lab. All pieces tested are, in fact, undigested. Here are their conclusions. Other than the sample that is not a cheese chew, all gastric and gastric plus small intestine coefficients are extremely low. That means they are mostly not digestible throughout the whole digestive tract. Because of the low disappearance values, intestinal obstruction, both at the level of the stomach and the small intestine, is a major concern. These treats should not be offered to dogs. And though they found that the digestion process does not produce shards, we know, based on our testing, that the chewing process does produce shards for these products. So how do you make sense of all this information? To give a summation of what our research indicates for dog chews currently available on the market, let me introduce you to the chew safety indicator and the chew attractiveness indicator. So let's first look at the chew safety indicator. As you can see, here are the 4 safety standards that we've evaluated each chew against. The first one is digestive degradability, which is basically how easily a chew is dissolved and broken down in the dog's digestive tract. Then we have what we call chomp safety, and that is how limited the risk is of a chew to fragment into sharp shards or cause obstructions. Pathogen safety, how limited the risk is of a chew to harbor and spread pathogens and other diseases. And finally, ingredients processing safety, which is how natural a chew is, how limited is the risk that dangerous chemicals and or residual drugs remain in the chew post-processing, which means it could leach out and your dog could consume it, and how safe the ingredients are. So let's look at the graph. Well, here we have a radial bar chart. The higher the number and the more circles that are filled in, the safer the chew is for that category. The lower the number, the less safe the chew is for that category. The overall CSI, our chew safety indicator score, is an average across all 4 of these categories. In addition to evaluating safety, we evaluate attractiveness. Here we have the chew attractiveness indicator, or CAI. This too has 4 criteria. The first one is durability, how long the chew lasts. The second one is dog desirability, how tasty a chew is and how readily accepted the chew is by most dogs. Human desirability, how limited is the tendency for a chew to be odorous, and how limited is the grossness factor. For example, if you want to have pieces of organ lying around your living room. Price, how affordable a chew is relative to other chews on the market. Higher is more attractive, lower is less attractive for that criteria. The overall CII score is the average across these 4 categories, just as the overall CSI score for safety was the average. Now I will show you how we scored each chew category on these indicators. Let's start with bones. Bones, while typically digestible, represent significant risks in ingredients and pathogens, and especially in chomp safety, as they can easily fragment and create dangerous shards. This gives them a fairly low safety score of 4. On the attractiveness side, bones rate high in durability, dog desirability, and price, which gives it an attractiveness score of 7.3. Now let's talk about rawhide. And if we look at the chew safety indicator, we see that they're highly digestible, but they represent high risks with chomp safety in terms of obstructions and ingredients, as well as moderate risks with pathogens. Overall safety indicator score of 4.8. On the attractiveness side, they're highly affordable, reasonably attractive to dogs, but they score low on durability and are not all that hygienic to have laying around the house. Overall attractiveness score of 7. Now let's go to antlers. While antlers are about as natural as you could get, they have severe digestive and chomp risks. Overall safety score of 5.8. On the attractiveness side, they are extremely durable. They are not smelly or ugly. However, they are quite pricey and many dogs just don't accept them or maintain interest in them. Overall CAI, or attractiveness score, of 5.5. Now let's talk about pig ears. Pig ears are typically highly digestible. However, similar to rawhide, they could degrade into soft pieces with obstruction risks. Additionally, they are subjected to chemical processing. Given the salmonella investigation and recalls, overall safety score is 3.3. For attractiveness, pig ears are quite affordable. Dogs typically like them, but they don't last that long. And I personally don't like to have half-eaten pig ears laying around my living room. Overall attractiveness score, or CAI, of 6.3. Now let's talk about bully sticks. They're quite digestible, but similar to other animal-derived chews, there are significant pathogen risks, processing risks, and chomp safety risks associated with obstructions. Overall chew safety indicator of 4.0. For attractiveness, bully sticks are quite affordable. Dogs seem to really like them, but they're not all that long-lasting, and even the ones that are advertised as odor-free don't smell all that great after a dog has chomped on them for a while. Overall chew attractiveness indicator of 5.0. Now let's talk about rawhide substitutes. On the safety side, provided that they are truly rawhide substitutes, they are typically quite digestible and break down without chomp risk, don't seem to provide any obvious pathogen risks, but usually have questionable ingredients and are not all that natural. Overall chew safety indicator of 6.5. For the attractiveness, rawhide subs are fairly affordable. Dogs like them. They're not especially messy, but they are not long lasting at all. Overall CAI of 7.0. Now let's talk about dental chews. On the safety side, many are not all that digestible. They are filled with chemicals and unnatural ingredients. And as far as we could tell, they all use glycerin as a major ingredient, typically the top second or third ingredient on the listing. They don't seem to show risks in terms of pathogens and chomp safety though. Overall, CSI, or chew safety indicator, of 6.0. For attractiveness, they are fine to have around the house. They are pretty affordable. Dogs seem to accept them as they are flavored, but they often last such a short period of time that they could be considered a treat more than a chew. Attractiveness score, or CAI, of 6.3. Let's talk about plastic chews. On the safety side, they are typically safe from pathogens. That's about all we could say about them. Overall chew safety indicator of 2.5. On the attractiveness side, they last forever. They are not smelly to have around the house. They are moderately priced, and as they are flavored, dogs typically accept them. Overall attractiveness, 8.3. Now let's talk about other animal-derived chews. This is a broad category with a range of digestibility. They can present obstruction risks, they have significant pathogens and disease carrying risks, and they typically carry process and ingredients risks as well. Overall safety score of 3.25. On the attractiveness side, they are quite affordable. Some are desirable for dogs. However, they don't last all that long. And again, I'm not interested in having scrap animal parts laying around my house. Overall attractiveness score, or CAI, of 4.5. Let's talk about milk-based chews, or as is commonly called cheese chews. On the safety side, most are pretty safe from ingredients and process perspectives, and they don't seem to present a significant pathogen risk. However, they are not very digestible and they display significant chomp safety risks. Overall safety score, or CSI, of 4.3. On the attractiveness side, they are quite attractive for pet parents. They have reasonable acceptance among dogs. Although some are affordable, others can be pricey, and most of them don't last all that long. Overall attractiveness score of 5.5. Here's a graph showing the placement of each type of chew based on safety and attractiveness. Safety, or CSI, chew safety indicator, is listed along the bottom, or x-axis. And attractiveness, or CAI, chew attractiveness indicator, is seen on the y-axis, or the vertical axis. A perfect 10 score for both safety and attractiveness would be placed in the upper right-hand corner, and a score of 0 for safety and attractiveness would be placed in the lower left-hand corner. So where does all of our research and analysis end up? It shows us that rawhide substitutes, or as you can see from the chart here, number 6, are the safest bet for products on the market right now. Based on our standards, we recommend that you only consider chews falling into this upper right-hand quadrant. Within this quadrant, there is still a gradient of safety and attractiveness. It is our vision that all chews on the market move to the top right of this quadrant. Unfortunately, as you can see, right now that's not the case. In fact, our research brings the question to mind, have dogs ever chewed safely? I'm excited to tell you that coming in 2020, resulting from over 5 years of research, an amazing dog chew will hit the market that in our rigorous assessment lands solidly in the green. How do you make a dog chew that lands in that upper right-hand corner? It all starts with ingredients. You need to select only the highest quality, natural, wholesome, pristine, and tasty ingredients you could find. And you need to ensure that your process doesn't add toxins or pathogens to the product as is exhibited in these lab reports. Obviously, one would never conduct safety testing on live dogs. So you must find well-researched and proven test methodologies. For digestion testing, you could use in vitro testing, which essentially simulates a dog's digestive processes. Then you conduct the test to determine the digestive degradability of your various recipes. And you don't stop until you have developed a highly digestibly degradable one. This is an example of a chew that is unsafe due to its low digestive degradability. Here is an example of a safer chew due to its moderate digestive degradability. Here is an example of a safe chew due to its high digestive degradability. You need to test in the lab for chomp safety to find a formulation that does not break into sharp shards upon crushing or impact. You also are looking for a formulation that is as strong and as durable as possible. Here is an example of a chew that rather than easily breaking up into sharp shards, it withstands the bite force of a T-Rex, dissolving and eventually crumbling apart. Only after all this do you test the chews with dogs. During these tests, you are looking for acceptance by the dogs, how excited the dogs are when introduced to the chews, and how interested they stay in the chew over time, and verification of the lab test to ensure that the chew breaks down safely. Finally, you consider price, understanding that your dog's safety and enjoyment are paramount. I hope you found our presentation to be informative, useful, and empowering for you to safely choose chews. For me, this whole enterprise started with our beloved Bouncer. When he was a puppy, he chewed through everything, through our clothes, our shoes, and even through a wall. His need to chew led me down a path of discovery and purpose to develop the safest and most attractive dog chew and make it available to your dog. After 5.5 years of research and development, our amazing, all-natural, super safe, and attractive chews will be available in 2020. In the meantime, we are commercializing artisanal, super healthy, decadent doggy desserts, which have undergone just as much care and attention to your dog's health and well-being. Thanks for choosing happiness.